see, Nigeria's infrastructure deficit is estimated at over $100 billion, and bridging this gap requires creative financing tools beyond traditional borrowing. One of such instruments is the Sukuk Sharia-Compliant bond that has already funded roads, schools, and other projects across the country. But since its first issuance in 2017, Nigeria has raised hundreds of billions of naira through Sukuk, with clear evidence of impact on transport and education. Now, the big question is, how can states and local governments tap into the Sukuk to drive development, boost infrastructure, and deepen financial inclusion in their communities? Well, let's have this conversation now with Mr. Akeem Oyewale, is the CEO, Marble Capital, joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Pleasure meeting you.
Fantastic. So, definitely when you hear Sukuk, it's mostly on the federal side of things. And, it makes you wonder, why are the states, the subnationals, why are the local governments not exploring Sukuk offering instead of borrowing? We've seen some states now having huge debt obligations right now in the country.
Thank you very much. So I would say that actually states have been utilizing Sukuk instruments to actually finance some infrastructure projects. However, you've not seen them on the public side as you've been seeing the one of the federal government. The closest everybody will know about is the one by Osun State in 2013, and that was the first Sukuk that was issued in Nigeria, and they used to build a lot of schools and the like. But we've seen states like Katsina State, Gombe State, Sokoto State actually issue private Sukuk, to finance some infrastructure projects in their states. But what we're about to see, which is going to change the dynamics, is the new ISA, that's the Investment and Securities Act, which has given local governments explicit authority to actually issue municipal bonds and Sukuk. And we're going to see that impacting on development at the local government levels in the near future.
Right. So let's imagine a time where we have, the federal government, the subnationals, local governments, all using Sukuk at the same time. Are there any risks to that? And does that mean humongous development?
I think the benefits, the benefit is going to be the huge leap in infrastructure development we're going to see if we have all the 3 tiers of government actually issuing Sukuk. However, there will be a lot of guidance and rail guards to ensure that they are not abused. A key part of any Sukuk issuance is the role of the advisory committee of experts. These are gentlemen and ladies that are actually steeped and well knowledgeable in Sharia. So they are there to ensure that whatever is stated will be financed by the Sukuk is actually done. They will give a rating, a fatwa, and if there's a deviation from such projects, they will withdraw their approval for such. So that's where you see transactions like the federal government Sukuk of Nigeria, the one that have been issued for the roads in the last couple of years. You actually see the roads being built. When you move from one place to the other across the 6 geopolitical zones, you see funded by Sukuk 1, by Sukuk 2, and the like. That shows that impact is being made, because you actually get this done. And we expect that will translate when you have the subnationals being more impactful in issuing Sukuk. They will still follow all the processes because the ACE will not allow them to, to just short-circuit any of the processes. So they follow all the processes as if it's the federal government that's issuing the Sukuk. So investors will be protected. There'll be a lot of infrastructure development, and there'll also be opportunities for investors to participate, and invest their money.
Right, and most of the time there's that narrative about, government crowding out the private sector. Do you think the tiers of governments will crowd out each other if they all tap the market?
Well, I do not think so. I mean, we have to realize that in the last couple of months, we've seen increased autonomy being given to local governments, and that means if you have a strong capacity, a strong leader in any of these local government, there is opportunity for them to actually develop their areas, local government areas, at a very fast pace. Nigeria is in need of humongous infra development over the next couple of years. I mean, billions of dollars. So we do not see in the near term the local government, the states, so much for them to do, in that space. And financing is key. A well-structured Sukuk can actually help both the local government and the state in actually fast-tracking infra growth in their spaces.
Well, we definitely hear a lot of oversubscriptions, when
Yeah.
it comes to federal government, Sukuk. Do you see the same investor sentiment, towards state and local government?
It may happen. It depends on how the Sukuk is structured. If investors feel that the Sukuk is structured in a way that assures them, of proper utilization and the money will come back, which it should. If investors feel that the state or the local government has the capacity to actually execute the project, and if we have the first 2, 3 issuances going on so well, and you're seeing the impact, then subsequently you can see a lot of oversubscriptions.
Even with the issues when it comes to, autonomy for local governments, do you
Yeah.
think investors will be keen on, investing in such Sukuks?
That is why the structure matters. That is why the capacity of the local government matters. That is why the leadership of the local government matters. People are not just going to come in because you're asking them to come and invest. They will look at you. Can you actually activate this Sukuk the way it's been structured? Can you do what's been said? Do you have the capacity? If they see you as having capacity, yes, they will come around. If you are rated, if you have proper guardrails, maybe you have a guarantee, then all of that will assist in ensuring that the Sukuk gets subscribed and you being able to make the investment and infrastructure development you want.
Right, and
Yeah.
talking about most of the oversubscriptions we've seen so far,
Yeah.
and gauging from where we started in 2017 up till now, would you say the investment so far match somewhat the level of infrastructure development we see since 2017?
Yeah. Absolutely, without a doubt. Absolutely. That's why the FGN Sukuk issuances have been seen as the poster child, for Islamic finance, not only in Nigeria, but outside of Nigeria on the continent. Investors have been able to see funds being raised, not only being raised, but being used for what they were meant to be used for. So that has given people a lot of confidence. That's why you've had, the last one you had, it's oversubscribed like 7 times. So investors are more confident, not only because the federal government's instrument, but because of the way they've utilized the previous issuances. So if the states and the local government start, and they start well, then in the near future we should see something similar as well.
So looking at regulation now, what challenges do you think maybe the states, subnationals, and local governments could run into getting into this market?
So the ISA, the Investment and Securities Act, like I mentioned earlier, has now given local government explicit approval or guidance to actually utilize Sukuk and municipal bond issuances as a whole to raise money. Now, the challenges will be how well are these local governments steeped, or how much do they understand, as far as the law is concerned. They will need to get very, very good solicitors and lawyers to guide them through. They will need to ensure that whatever they are borrowing is captured under the proper act, either by the DMO or the state DMO, as the case may be. They will need to ensure that all the parties, they appoint professional parties. They do not try and cut corners when it comes to appointing people that will guide them in implementing this. So if they're able to do so, the parties, professionals will advise them on how to align with the law. They will file appropriate documents with the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, who will also guide them to ensure they don't flout the law. And they must also demonstrate that they have the capacity to actually monitor those projects. It's not going to be business as usual. This is you asking investors to come in and invest. Investors want their money back. It's not you saying, oh, I'm relying on allocation from government every month, come rain, come shine. No. Here, you must implement, and you must show that funds are coming back. When you do that, investors will follow you as well.
Right. I'm talking about following. There's that trust deficit, between governments and the governed.
Yeah.
And, definitely when it comes to, government spending, taxation, it's always that issue, right there. Do you think faith-based investment is what's going to save us?
It has shown, we've shown it with the FGN Sukuk over the last 6 issuances, that maybe at the initial stage, people were skeptical, but Sukuk 2, Sukuk 3, Sukuk 6, we saw it being taken up by people of different faiths, Muslims, non-Muslims, So investors now understand that this is just an alternative finance source, And I think that when we get to the level of the subnationals as well, investors are already having experiences from the FGN side that this is not about Muslims alone, it's about an alternate finance source. So I don't see it impacting or seeing non-Muslims having issues with it. What they'll be more concerned about is which local government, which state is trying to raise these funds. How good are they? How reliable are they? Do they have the professionals? Do they have the capacity? So that's what people will be more interested in, not whether it's a faith-based instrument or not a faith-based instrument.
Fantastic. And what are you seeing, for the future of faith-based investment in the country?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth. The last master plan of the capital market was targeting about 25% market share, for faith-based instruments. We are yet to get there, so there's still ample opportunities for growth. And I think Nigerians have realized that now, and we see growth coming in that space.
We see growth coming. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great having this conversation with you, Mr. Hakeem Oyewale is the CEO of Marble Capital. It was great having your perspective, and I'm sure you're bullish.
I am bullish.
On most of the investments
I am
coming
bullish.
up. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.